Hi everyone, I'm Myelle. Welcome to my channel. Get comfy, grab your favorite drink, and let's slip into something a little strange. Here on Myelle Tales, I share stories that blur the line between real and unreal. So lean in close, take a deep breath, and let's begin. I arrived at the Harbor View Hotel just after 6 p.m. The air smelled like rain and old stone, and the building looked like it hadn't changed much since the 60s. Gray walls, a faded red awning, and windows that caught the dying light without reflecting it. I was in town for work, 3 nights, maybe 4. Just long enough to want quiet, reliable Wi-Fi, and a bed that didn't squeak. The man at the front desk wore a vest too big for him and had the kind of politeness that felt rehearsed. He slid the guest book toward me, handed me an actual key, not a card, and said, "Room 309, 3rd floor, end of the left hallway." As I signed, I glanced at the hotel map posted beside the desk. Each floor was clearly marked. Rooms 301 through 308 on the 3rd floor. No 309. I tapped the glass. "I think this is missing mine." The man didn't look. "It's there, just not updated." I waited for a better explanation, but he just smiled and turned the guest book back around. I took the key and the brass tag it hung from, feeling its weight more than expected. The elevator creaked and shook as it climbed. The 3rd floor was quiet, dimly lit. Floral carpet ran the hallway, worn flat in the center. I passed rooms 301 through 308. Normal doors, light under some, silence behind others. Then, at the very end, was 309. It looked newer than the others. Same shape, same wood tone, but the handle was shinier. The number plate was brass, polished and screwed into the center of the door, almost proud of itself. I inserted the key. It resisted for a second, then clicked. Inside, the room was fine, clean, basic. A bed, a writing desk, a tall, narrow window that looked out toward the bay, pale blue walls, a smell like lavender and something else, maybe cleaning product. Nothing odd, except it was cold. Not freezing, but colder than the hallway, colder than the lobby. I adjusted the thermostat and unpacked. The signal was weak, but passable. I sent 2 emails and turned on the lamp by the bed. There was a small notebook on the nightstand. No hotel logo, just a plain black cover and a pen tucked into the coil. I flipped it open. The first page read, in small, neat writing, "If you're reading this, you found the room they don't talk about. You're not in danger." Not exactly. Just don't stay past the 3rd night. No name, no date. Nothing else on that page. The next was blank. I closed it. I laughed out loud. Once. A joke? From a guest? Maybe someone bored who thought they were clever, but there was something in the handwriting. Careful, practiced, not casual. I put the notebook in the drawer and turned off the light. The hum of the hallway faded as I settled into bed. Sometime in the night, I thought I heard someone knock. Just once. But when I opened my eyes, it was silent again. The next morning, the front desk clerk acted like he'd never seen me before. "Checking in?" he asked. I blinked. "No, I already did. Room 309. He paused, typed something into his computer, frowned slightly. "Ah, right. Sorry. Must have missed that." I waited for more, but he just handed me a folded map of the area, smiling like nothing strange had happened. There was a new clerk beside him now, a woman maybe in her 40s, with sharp eyes and a too-tight bun. She didn't look at me, but I felt her attention settle anyway. I spent the day working at a coffee shop near the harbor. When I got back to the hotel, my key turned smoothly in the door again. The room was just as I left it, but slightly warmer, like the thermostat had finally kicked in. The notebook was where I'd left it, still in the drawer. That night, I decided to test the warning. Not in a reckless way. I didn't believe the note, but it stuck in my mind. Who leaves a message like that? And why no one else talks about the room? I left the notebook out on the desk. Before bed, I wrote beneath the first message, "Here for night 2. Nothing strange yet. If you're reading this too, leave a note." Then I turned off the lights. At 2:37 a.m., I woke up. Not from a sound, from the cold. The window had fogged up, though I hadn't opened it. The temperature in the room had dropped fast. I could see my breath. The air had that stillness that happens just before a storm, heavy and expectant. I sat up, heart thudding, listening. Nothing. Then, again, the knock. One single knock. From inside the room. Not the door, not the wall. It came from the wardrobe. I stood, slowly, crossed the floor barefoot. The wardrobe was shut. Standard hotel design, narrow, vertical, mirror on the front. I reached out and opened it. Empty. Just the extra blanket, a hanger, and a scent of wood polish. But the mirror, something about it made me pause. My reflection looked off. Not distorted, just delayed. I moved my hand, and for a fraction of a second it didn't move with me, or maybe I was overtired. I closed the wardrobe, climbed back into bed, left the light on. When I woke up again, sunlight was filtering through the window, and the room felt normal, almost pleasant. But the notebook had been moved. It was back in the drawer, closed, and when I opened it, there was a new message beneath mine. Night 2 is always quiet, it lets you settle in. Same handwriting as the first note, same fine black ink, same unsettling calmness in the way it was written. I stared at it for a long time. Then I packed my laptop and went downstairs. I needed answers. The lobby was quiet. The man from my first night was gone. Only the woman remained behind the counter now, the one with the sharp eyes. She looked up as I approached, her smile more polite than warm. "Good morning. Need anything?" "Yeah," I said. "Some history. Room 309. Was it sealed in 1992? Her smile didn't change. "I'm not sure what you mean. The room, it's not on the map. The first clerk gave me the key without blinking, but there's something off about it. Is it some kind of joke? A theme room?" "No, sir. We don't do themes." I waited. She didn't blink. Did something happen in that room? She glanced to the side as if checking to see if someone was listening. Then, after a pause, she lowered her voice. "You shouldn't be in there more than 2 nights." I stared. "Why?" But she had already straightened up. "Would you like me to call a cab?" I left the desk, frustrated. Back in my room, the air felt different again. Cooler, heavier, like the window had been open, though it hadn't. The thermostat showed the same setting. I spent the afternoon distracted, half working, half watching the shadows in the corner of the room shift with the light. That night, I left the notebook out again. I didn't write anything new. At 3:11 a.m. I woke with the feeling that someone had just left the room. The air was colder than before. The mirror on the wardrobe had fogged at its center. The edge of the bedspread was folded down like someone had been sitting there. I looked around the room. Slowly, nothing moved, nothing made a sound. Then I noticed the notebook. It was open. A new message waited there, still in that same neat handwriting. If you see the mirror change, don't touch it. If it shows something behind you, don't turn around. I sat very still. The wardrobe's mirror caught the faint orange glow from the street lamp outside. My reflection sat quietly in the bed. I didn't move. But something in the mirror did. Just over my shoulder, I stared at it, not turning, not breathing. The shape, a blur like someone standing just behind me, shifted slightly, then vanished. I turned a light on, sat up, waited until morning. At 7:00 a.m., I went to the front desk again. The woman wasn't there, a young man this time, new, friendly. "I'd like to check out early," I said. He nodded, began typing, then paused. "Are you sure, sir? You're only on your second night." "No," I said. "Third." He shook his head slowly. "Our records show you checked in yesterday." He turned the monitor toward me. My check-in date was wrong. Off by a day. I didn't argue. I took the stairs to my room. The hallway felt longer than before. I packed fast. The notebook was gone. So was the key. I left the room without looking back. Not out of bravery, just fear that the mirror might still be fogged, still watching. The hallway was empty. No voices, no cleaning carts, no trace of movement. I walked quickly, key in hand, to the elevator. It opened with its usual creak, the inside dim and still. I pressed the lobby button and watched the doors slide shut. Nothing happened. The elevator didn't move. The floor indicator stayed on 3. I hit the button again, then again. Silence. I stepped out and turned to take the stairs. But the stairwell door wasn't there. Just more hallway. Same wallpaper, same carpet, same soft hum of the lights overhead. I turned around. Room 309. I was back in front of it. I didn't panic. Not yet. I walked in the opposite direction, past rooms that should have been 301 to 308, but they weren't. Every door had the same number now, 309, each one identical, same polished handle, same brass plate. I tried one. It opened. Same room, same desk, same bed, same wardrobe and mirror. No way out. I walked until my legs hurt. Tried opening another door. Same result. It was like the hallway wrapped around itself, a loop with no exit. Eventually, I went back to the one room that felt most like mine. Not because it was different, but because the notebook was there again, sitting on the desk. I opened it. A single sentence waited. Stayed a third night. No threats, no explanations, just quiet, written certainty. I sat at the desk, hands folded in my lap. I thought about the woman at the front desk, about the changing staff, about the man who didn't recognize me. The missing date. It wasn't a mistake. It was design. And now I was part of it. Time began to bend. I'd sleep and wake, but light through the window didn't match the hours. The notebook would disappear, then return. Sometimes it was empty. Sometimes it had questions or names. I stopped trying to count the days. The mirror cracked one morning, a fine line branching from the top left corner. I avoided looking into it, remembering the warning, but eventually I did. Not out of curiosity, out of routine, and I saw someone behind me, not moving, not threatening, just standing, watching me from inside the mirror's depth, as if the glass was only a window now. When I turned around, no one was there. The next day, the notebook had a new message. "You ready?" I didn't know what that meant, but I began to write. Not messages, not questions, just observations. What I saw, what changed, what didn't. Sometimes I get replies, and last night the message returned. Another one's checking in. So now I wait. Maybe that's the rule. When one comes in, another gets to write. I don't know how long you'll last. Maybe you'll leave before the third night. I hope you do. But if you're reading this, maybe you're already on night 2. And if you are, don't open the wardrobe after 3 a.m. Don't look in the mirror if it fogs from the inside. And if you hear a knock, don't answer. Room 309. If you enjoyed the story, like, comment, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves a little mystery. I'll be right here waiting with another tale very soon. Take care and see you next time.